All right, so it is Monday. It's December 10th. Thank you guys for being here. We're loving our new format of our calls. And I just wanted to let you know we'll meet next week on December 17th, but then we're going to be off on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve. So this is a great time to be tuning in and learning everything that we're learning to best support our clients, because we're going to be continuing to support our clients through December, and then of course bringing on so many for January. And before we get into the topic, I just want to make sure that everybody has seen about the December Dash bonus that the company is offering. It is an incredible financial incentive for acquiring new clients up through December 23rd through Sunday the 23rd. So basically every 5 clients you bring on, you're going to earn a $250 bonus, $50 more per client. It's pretty huge if you do that. So that is awesome. Just want to make sure you knew about that. And then Meg and I are working on a health challenge with a special twist that we're going to provide some training for in the next day or so, and for a health challenge that we can start promoting that's going to be starting in January. So that'll help finish us strong for December. So we'll provide more information on that at another time. But tonight we are leading into the topic of the journey kickoff call for our clients, as well as posturing the relationship, the reality check for them, and then how do we really connect them to the 4 components. So I think I'll just start at the beginning with the journey kickoff call. The question to really think about, if you got a chance to watch the pre-training, was what did you learn from that, and what is something like an aha moment or something that you can start applying right away, or something that you have a question about. And feel free just to unmute yourself. Not everybody is on this one screen, so just unmute yourself if I can't see you on the screen if your hand is raised.
I'll go.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. So, for me, the big takeaway was asking questions. I realize I don't ask a lot of questions, and I love it. I love when you, Dee, ask me questions. And, just like, any other areas you want to focus on, or what would that look like for you? Or what would your life look like if, you move forward? That really engages them. And that's something new for me I haven't done. And really understanding and really helping the client understand the journey. I sort of put it out there and realized that now I'm moving a little different with that, just really painting the picture and showing them what to expect. And I think that's a little different for me. And and then after that also is just really keeping them in the game. That's another big thing that I got to. There are a lot of people that are like reaching their goals and not letting them go and just what's next. So I love that. And my biggest is being a health coach. It's the health insurance plan. I mean, for any client, I really, really want to let them know that, because for me, I can say it's my insurance plan.
Do you want to elaborate that on a little bit, so that maybe somebody who's new to coaching, what that means, like they're creating their own health insurance?
Yeah. If I were just a client and losing weight, and if I would have gotten to my goal when I did, and at this point from like a year in, I could have seen myself straggle off and go off course. But when I'm talking about a health plan every day to all these people, I'm telling it to myself over and over again. It's like, there is no way. And also last night I was at a party where I met 4 clients that I had never met. And, it was a great thing being an example to show the kind of foods I was choosing. They all chose the wrong foods, but that being a coach, that's the example. because had I not been, I don't know, but it definitely keeps me on point, and definitely keeps me at my goal. And did that explain it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they did a study that showed that clients that become coaches are actually 5 times more successful in reaching their goal weight and maintaining. So it really debunks that myth. And we'll talk more about this in another session of when clients think that they want to wait till they get to their goal weight in order to consider coaching, that it really makes sense for us to be having those conversations much sooner in the journey to actually put the guardrails up and help them stay in their lane and actually get to their goals. So, but yeah, that 5 times more successful, 500% is a tough one to ignore. So really posturing this as a health journey and why they would want to take that next step is huge. So I'm glad that that really was a light bulb for you. What else? And it can really come from any section. We had a couple of different questions. I thought that full disclosure and reality check about, Katie.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway was the full disclosure, the David Miller part. I used the video actually tonight with a client. She's struggling with the same 3.8 pounds. She keeps going back and forth. And she was precious because she sent me a text when she did it last Thursday. And she's just struggling with like the things left in the workroom at work. And I was just telling her, I said, just avoid the workroom. Do not go in there, whatever. And so I brought her back to her why tonight. And I just said, she said, I've written it down. And I said, well, you might want to think about doing a video, and just take a couple notes before you do it, and just really, really dig deep and go to that place beyond, losing the weight. What would it mean, and how would it make you feel, and why? Because I said, then you can bring it up anytime at work, anytime you're, can sit in the car before you go in, and it just may help you speak that much truer and louder to yourself. So I used that tonight. And then I love the forecast, the journey for your clients, that term. I love that. I just saw the map, and I just saw the whole, laying it out there for them. And I had 3 people on their first week last week. So it was, a lot of them were so just so unsure. One client was going away for the weekend. So I said, you're going to be fine. And then today they were all like, I got through my week. I did great. I lost 5.3 pounds. I lost this. And so it just really helped me when I was doing this yesterday. I was like, okay, yeah, I can see using this and where it would really be beneficial. So that's what really spoke to me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us, Katie. And just curious, with the client that's struggling, I love that idea of the video that David talked about. How do you intend to check in with her on that to see if it's done? And like next week or in the coming days, how do you plan to follow up with that?
I asked her, I told her that, like I do every week, she's pretty good about texting me during the week if she's struggling or if she succeeds in something we talked about. So I kind of told her that I would touch base with her maybe Thursday, Friday, see how her week's going, and just see if she's done the video, just kind of check in and kind of ask her again about it.
Awesome. Give her that accountability. I think that's smart. What were some other takeaways from the video?
Hi there. Good evening. This is Dominica. I also like the Brett Miller part a lot. I'm sorry, David Miller. Especially, I think this time of the year, even though the video was taken in April, but I guess it's appropriate every time of the year, but especially now because I do have some really clients who struggle with the holidays. And what he said was, what are you willing to do today towards your goal to move forward in your health? I think that is such a powerful question because it really makes them think, because a lot of them just say, oh, I just can't do it right now, you know. So but what, even the smallest thing, drinking water, whatever it is, and let's do that. So those little steps, and that's what we're all about, those lifestyle changes, the little steps. But that was really powerful, and I forget about these things, you know, to ask these things sometimes. So and that was just a really good reminder. I do have a question though tonight, so about integrating your clients. So I do a lot of things. I talk about it on the health assessment. I talk about it during the first week when I meet with them. A lot of times there's a Tuesday or Monday in it. So, hey, Wednesday night is the Habits Health call. Please tune in. They do the text messages. I know that's not duplicatable. I even send an email every Tuesday, sometimes it's Wednesday morning, with the topic of the Habits Health call. But I must say, there is not a whole lot of people of my clients who tune into this. So I want to hear from all of you guys tonight. How do you integrate them? You know, and then I even talk about it on our weekly call. Did you listen to it? But you know, so, and then I send it again, the recording, whatever. But you know, I want them to integrate. You know, so what do you guys do?
I'd love to just kind of pause and see if somebody else wants to jump in on maybe something that's working for them or something they'd like to share on that. Katie?
One client who has been kind of a tough one for me to get integrated, she actually posted on the Eat, Live, and Be Optavia page last week about this app she found for her food journal. And she also had the most success this week. So I talked to her today and I said, I love how you're integrating yourself more. And I think that how I try to do it when they're beginning is I try to say, I start off with, we used to introduce each client on this page, but the company really feels that you're going to get more out of it for each client to introduce themselves. And I kind of start with that. And it makes, you know, it increases your accountability and it helps support page and people get to know you. And so I really work that up when I start with them and encourage them to go to that page for positive and encouragement and inspiration. And when they're struggling, because everybody has great days, but when you're struggling, it's great to go to that page and just say, you know what, I didn't do so hot today. Does anybody have any help, you know, ways to help me? So that has helped my clients, I think, to kind of be a little bit more accountable for their journey. I don't know if that helps.
I think that is helpful, Katie. It's a great perspective. And Dominique, I'll say you're doing a great job of presenting the options that are out there. And that's really our job as a coach, is to just let them know what tools they have in their hand and keep bringing them up, you know, remind them about the Habit of Health call like you're doing. They have something that they're struggling with or something that they're celebrating, encourage them to post it in the Facebook group. And I kind of go back to thinking of when we talked to Frank a couple of weeks ago about using the Facebook group. Give them the option. Say, would you like some tips on making sure you have the best experience possible with Optavia? And once they say yes, then you can say, well, great. Well, my clients that do X, Y, and Z tend to have better results than my clients that treat this like a diet and just eat the food. So if you get their buy-in, it's easier to help them get integrated. Any other ideas?
Yeah, I was just going to elaborate on that. It was a really good point. It's definitely in the what's in it for me. It's definitely got to come from their position and why it would help them, because everybody's busy. And I love the way David Miller postured it. He said, this is a journey the client has never taken before. The client has their own concepts and their own paradigm, and that our role is to help them understand and move them on the journey. So you know, they're coming into it like, yeah, I'm just here for the food. You know, like that's honestly where they are at the beginning. Probably many of us on this call might have been that person. So I like to use the, this might be helpful. I like to use, especially the Habits of Health Zoom calls, the recordings. I use them in particular when a client is struggling. So if they're having trouble, I'll, you know, or they'll say, well, they'll self-identify, I'm an emotional eater. I'll say, you know what, we've got an incredible, you know, training on this. Would you be willing to, you know, watch this? It's on emotional eating. And if I do it in that way, then they'll say yes. I'll say, when do you think you could watch it? And then I'll follow up with them, and I'll find they're much more likely to watch one that is directly relative to whatever they're going through, because I'm with you. It's very difficult. They're very busy and they don't want to pick up the book or just to watch a webinar when they don't see the value to themselves. Vicki.
Just to piggyback on that, I've done the same thing, but you know, nobody has time, right? I mean, that's just what we hear all the time. I don't have time for that. And so I think that's part of the difficulty with integration. But what I've done in the past that I've had a little bit of success with, not always, but I'll send them the video or send them like the Habits of Health call via text and just say, why don't you listen to this on your way home? And at least they can actually, you know, where people have like that non-productive time where they'll make phone calls or they'll listen to the radio. I found that people will actually do it on that drive to or from work. So that's just a suggestion.
That's a really good one. I use that one too. And thanks, I forgot to say that. Or like a girl today was saying, well, you know, I'm always at my daughter's gymnastics practices. I don't have time. And I said, what do you typically do while you're at the practices? And she said, well, I sit in my car, I do paperwork or whatever. And I said, oh, do you think you might be able to watch the video then? And she was like, oh yeah, like absolutely, I could do that. So thanks for that reminder. Okay, Vicki and Kiowa, can you, I know you wanted to share. Can you unmute?
Okay.
Yes, there you are.
Okay. All right. So I have a number of clients who are not on social media, which makes some of this even a little more challenging. So one of the things that I've done during the month of December is that each week I have presented the team with a challenge. So like the first week, it was a water challenge as far as certain amounts of water. The second week with then discussion at the end of the week, how to go, what'd you think, could you tell a difference, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This week, the challenge is to read the chapter in Habits of Health with the health assessment in it, because I know none of them have picked it up. So to read it, to take the health assessment, and then we will talk about that. Because at the very end of that chapter, they list all of the potential benefits of weight loss. So, yep, weight loss is great, but why? Other than we like to look better than we feel we look at the moment. So next week's challenge is listening to the Zoom call. So again, no huge great rewards other than hopefully they get some personal rewards from it and they get lots of kudos for me, and sometimes I've published a couple of recipes I've picked up and just email those to everybody and say, these are great, you need to try them, that kind of stuff. So that's one way I've tried to get them at least interacting with somebody other than me, or not even interacting, but listening to somebody other than me. So
that's good. I like it that you're being creative in how you connect them, you know, making it a challenge to do something different. That's a Habit of Health or watching the webinar. I mean, just mixing it up. I think that's really good, because that is our true role, is to keep pointing them to what is going to work and for them for the long term. And like they were real clear on the video that if we start posturing and becoming the diet coach that they want us to be and filling the role that they want us to be. I think somebody was telling me the other day, their client said, like, you know, I'm glad you just kind of leave me alone or something. And we're like, well, no, that's not really what our role is. But you know, we want to be that encourager, but also move them to what's going to help. So I like the way that you're doing that for the people that are especially not on social media. Right. Very good. And Zine, I saw your thing about whether or not we have the clients introduce themselves or not. We still are evaluating that, what's going to be the best position for our group. The other thing I have found is sometimes if clients are so insistent in not introducing themselves, that even if we did that intro, they're still not getting involved anyway. So the newsfeed is often clogged with just welcomes of people, but not really the meat and the interaction that we want with our clients. So we're really trying to figure that out. So thanks for sharing on that. I had somebody the other day totally surprised me that in my head, my concept was he wouldn't do it. And then he did. So I've kind of learned you just never know. What else? Let's spend a little more time about this integration and the 4 components with our clients, because I know that it's something I hear a lot from you guys with struggling, and we know with our clients. Anybody else doing anything that's working well, or anybody else want to talk about or ask questions around it?
I just wanted to pop in and say something about something that the last speaker said. I can't. It wasn't Jan. I don't remember the last name. What her name was. But she was talking about. I feel like this applies because like awakening people's why and their own motivation. It really resonated with me because I definitely do what she was saying, that when someone says they want to learn how to ride a bike, to me, I picture what I think about what riding a bike looks like. And of course you want this, but they might just want to go for a stroll. And so similarly, like maybe they don't want to be in fitness competition mode. They just want to sleep at night without snoring, you know, and really like just not assuming that what I want is what they want and what I think health looks like is what they, you know. So I think really getting out of I mean, it's kind of a pretty self-centered way to look at it, but me thinking that I know the way that you're looking at this, you know, and really just taking the time to ask questions and really explore, like, can I come into your world? Can I understand how you see this and what you want? Because you're not going to care about what I care about, you know, and I feel like maybe that I might be missing my clients in that spot. So I thought it was super, super helpful. Definitely took that nugget away.
I like that, Courtney. It is relative to what Lynette said earlier, that success, she put it in the chat, but she said that success is relative to the client, you know, what they're looking for. So it's just a great reinforcement of why we ask questions, and really ask questions to listen, to understand, so that we can figure out where they are. And then kind of what Dominique said, and, you know, even when they are struggling, what would be success to them? You know, what could you do today that would at least move you? Even if it's not perfect, what could you do? And helping shift that perspective. So good. That's a really good aha moment. Larry.
Hey, now I just wanted to piggyback on what Courtney said. I mean, that was awesome. It reminded me in my notes, you know, Lisa Castro mentioned their why becomes your why. And then we have to believe it's possible for them until they believe it for themselves. So again, that whole point of making sure we don't forget that and we carry that for them until they can carry their own responsibility and keep, you know, emphasizing and keeping that in front of them, because that's what they said. So good point, Courtney.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what we do as coaches, right? Is remind people of what they said they wanted, you know, when it gets foggy and gets blurry to them. And I love, that's why that thing that Katie had referenced, I never heard that before, about having them do a video for themselves. I'm glad that your client was responsive. I think that's something I'm definitely going to start challenging my clients to do, because I think that could be so helpful. If, you know, imagine that for yourself, even with coaching, right? Like, you know, like we get coaching and we might get some discouragements along the way or whatever, but if you heard yourself and what you said at the beginning about why you got into this and listened to that during the tough times, who would think that would make a difference? You know, absolutely. Absolutely. So if it would for us, I think our clients too. Meg, did you have any takeaways yourself? Or, oh, go ahead. Carol. Can you unmute?
Hang on. Okay. Here we go. I was thinking about something that came up in the videos today that resonated with me. And it was that I had 2 clients, and it's the holidays, and it's more tempting, and they were struggling. And one of them sent me a text with a sad face saying she ate a granola bar. And another one said, I blew the diet Friday night. So I was thinking about how they reacted to it. And actually, I want to thank Meg, because one of my clients who never watches anything watched you live, Miss Meg, and you said a line that I used for my second client who won't look online. And it was that, did you hit a pothole or a manhole? Well, this to me was a great analogy, because the one who kind of blew it Friday night said, wow, that's me. Just because I messed up and I didn't lose weight this week and I cheated Friday night, does that mean I should go eat 5,000 calories? No, I'm going to only hit the pothole. So I used that analogy with the gal with the granola bar, and I thought it was really, really a great way to look at it. And the other part was to be non-judgmental. Not that we are trying to judge our clients, but I think they're afraid to tell us sometimes because they think we as coaches are perfect. We're not. And I think that was really well emphasized in one of the videos. So that was all I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Carol. I'm glad that was helpful because part of me was wondering. But that is so true that so many of our clients right now are struggling, and we do have that opportunity to tell them it's okay. It's not about what happened yesterday or even like 5 minutes ago. What matters is where we want to go from here and what happens tomorrow and in the next 5 minutes. So I love that. I love that you were able to share that with them and pass that hope on to them and help them keep going. How did that feel?
Well, it really felt great to hear one who's been having a hard time because she's still convinced 20 pounds down she's not going to lose anymore, that this pothole manhole thing really helped her. And for the other client who mostly wants to text and doesn't want to talk to me, who's been struggling, I think what I told her was just dig deep, move forward, get back on the train, and don't worry. And I think that part and the non-judgmental part, I think that maybe it impacted them. That's it.
I love that. And I don't know about any of you, but when you're coaching your clients, do you ever feel like I need to hear this too? Like this is happening for me? And when we're coaching clients with their health program, I think about coaching coaches and myself as a coach, because we all get those discouragements and we all have potholes and hopefully not any manholes with our coaching business and things that we might be disappointed by, but we have the choice to keep moving forward and do the next right thing and have the next win and have the next great health assessment. So that was one thing that was going on pretty big in my heart. And I think as coaches, when we can be vulnerable about our own struggles, that's when we can break down that barrier and the walls with our clients and show them, like we're not all perfect. And it doesn't matter if we're perfect. It matters that we try to be better than we were yesterday and we never give up. So I love that.
Yeah, that was a huge shift for me. I mean, early in my coaching, I actually thought I needed to kind of model this, like, yeah, you can do it. Like, this is like anybody, if I can do it, you can do it kind of thing. And that almost becomes not relatable, even though that wasn't really what was happening behind the scenes or in my brain. So when I thought it might show like a weakness, or it might be hard for somebody to see like, well, gosh, if she's struggling, like it would even be harder for them. But you know what, we're human. And so we connect better when they realize that you know what, you're going through it too, but yet you're sticking, you're still in the game and you're fighting, So, Carol, one thing that I thought of, like it's so interesting. I think that sometimes people your client who says like, it's not going to work after 20 pounds. And I just had that with another client. I've also had people get to a certain weight and they'll say, well, I can never get below this. Just had a man the other day, never can get below 200, never. But it's almost like it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's almost like they're creating their own barrier, their own block. So a good question is like, I'm just curious, has this happened to you before on other, when you've attempted to lose weight? And would you be willing to try to work through it this time so that was not your reality? and get their buy-in that you'll work with them to help break through what's stuck in their head. We are, believe it or not, at our time of 8 p.m. If we missed anybody, thank you guys for taking up and bringing things up in the chat and your questions. If we missed anything, let's continue the conversation on our Facebook page. I think that we're finding tremendous value from that. And then next week, we will continue the conversation into the ongoing weekly client support with our clients. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks for investing in yourself to be your best for others. Meg, thank you for stepping in at the last minute to help facilitate this call, and you guys enjoy the rest of the night. Dr. A is on a different Zoom link. It's all in that same text message right now. Bye, you guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Debbie Wood. Good feedback that you love this.